number 173, Lil Finder Guy. Recorded live Sunday, June 7th, 2026, live from iTechGear Central. As I said, I'm Christopher Spera, the editor-in-chief here at the iTechGear.org. And hey, we've got a full crew before WWDC Day. We've got the editor here at iTechGear, the former contributing editor at Gear Diary, and the late, great Pocket Now. That's Mr. Chris Gavula. How are you, sir?
I'm really good and excited to talk about Lil Finder Guy.
A Lil Finder Guy. There you go. And a happy belated birthday to you, sir.
Thank you. My senior citizenship is going well so far. So thank you.
It only gets worse.
It only gets worse.
It only goes downhill from here.
Larry, thanks for that happy forecast here.
There you go. And the fireworks go off. Anyway, also the editor here at iTechGear and the former contributing writer at Gear Diary and currently the host of the Linux Link Tech Show, Living in the Retro Arcade podcast, and of course, fitness for the rest of us. That's Brother Joe McLaughlin. How are you, sir?
I'm doing just fine. Fresh from Cincinnati and making a pilgrimage to the other jungle gyms. I actually went to the Eastgate one, so I've officially been to both of them. So
awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. And of course, last but never, ever least, we've got the editor at iTechGear here and the former co-owner of WUGNET Publications. It's Dr. Mr. Larry McJunkin. How are you, sir?
I'm tired. That's it. I'm tired.
Let's face it. Everything below the waist is
I
kaput.
spent all
I was gonna say you and Madeline Kahn. Geez.
all afternoon doing yard work. I'm tired of it and tired from it.
Oh yeah,
Joel, we're glad you went somewhere else to some kind of a festival or something other than Toledo. Wow, that was something.
Yeah, I've been offline and kind of clueless, so I don't even know what happened up there.
Being offline has nothing to do with that, sir.
No, mass shooting.
No, but our prayers all go out with them. All about two people fighting. All about two people fighting again.
Yeah.
Yep.
Anyway, we've got some interesting things coming up this week. This week's a big week. It's the kickoff of WWDC, and it is the last time that Skinny Timmy is going to go ahead and take the stage. So it's really kind of sad. It's the first time, I think, in about 15 years that we actually have a CEO changeover at Apple. I know that Tim is scheduled to kick off the keynote for WWDC tomorrow, I believe, at noon Central, 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific. And I hear that incoming CEO John Turnus is going to go ahead and close it out. So this will be an interesting time. It's going to be the end of an era, I think.
It really is, isn't it? Again, we've talked about this many times on this show. What he's brought to the table, what his legacy is, such a thing. And he wasn't the creative guy Jobs was. We all know that.
No.
But he was probably a better business management kind of guy than Jobs ever was. So, and he certainly brought him an era of prosperity they'd never seen before. So
very true. I mean, even though Steve brought them back from the jaws of death and from
almost death, right?
And from the grips of bankruptcy and insolvency.
Well, let's face it, that was Scully's fault. Scully was not great at that stuff. So, but even before Scully, Jobs had hit or miss luck with the product line, and so he did. What Jobs did was bring the right people around him at that time and got it back on track. Is what he did.
To be very, very honest, and I have a feeling lots of people are going to hear this and boo and hiss and throw rocks, but I think Jobs got lucky the second time around.
I don't know. Again, I don't know if it's lucky, but he brought the right people in.
That's what I mean. He got lucky because he brought the right people. And brought those folks around him and really kind of got them focused.
I also think that by then, though, he had Next, he had some other things going on, and I think he learned a lot from the other businesses that he was part of in between. and he had a better business sense enough to know that he didn't have the best business sense.
Well,
If
true.
that
I
makes
mean,
any sense.
he started Next, and he started
Mhm.
Pixar, right? He got
B,
Pixar going. You
he was
know,
involved with B.
yep, was involved with
So
B, and really kind of in a short period of time, I think really kind of got his head screwed on straight as far as being the head of an organization is concerned. You
I think he
know,
understood more. I think he understood more of what he needed to do and not needed to do. And he
agreed.
brought the creative spark back, but that wasn't the big thing. I think he brought a better. I'll call it a more. I'm not going to call it a kinder, gentler seed because God knows he
No,
wasn't.
no,
But I
I
would.
thought
never
it
a
was.
kind. He was never a kinder or gentler.
But
I
he
thought he
but
was initially focused on the product, and the second time around, he was focused on the company.
I would say that's true, Larry. I think, but I'm not even sure that he wasn't focused on the product when he came back the second time. But I would say
Well, he was not
but
primary. That's
but
all.
but again, he certainly
Agreed.
brought a better business sense to the equation from what he had before. I think he
And like
learned
you
from his
said, he
mistakes.
brought people back that would worry
He brought
about the
people,
other stuff.
Yeah,
and he knew that. I think he knew that he didn't know, so he took care of it. So yeah, but it'll be this is a different area. And Tim is a business guy. He understands the business guy, but he's not as creative a guy. And he certainly would never pretend he was.
no,
So I think it's going to be interesting because Turner seems to be kind of in between, but we'll see what that really looks like in the next few months. We'll see what it
in
really
the
ends up
next
looking
few
like.
years. I mean, it's because it's really going to take at least 18
Well,
to 24 for us to really see exactly who John is going to be.
I think that's true in one sense, but I think that we're going to hear it very, very quickly. He will stand on the stage. You're going to see what he stands for and what he doesn't stand for pretty quickly. I think in the next few months you'll see it. So
right,
it's going to be interesting. Between now and September, I think we'll learn a lot.
right.
So
I agree. And one of the other things related but not, Craig is actually going to go ahead and take full control of the AI direction. It's finally coming back underneath that software guy, right? And Craig is going to go ahead and really, I think we're going to see a lot of Craig tomorrow, simply because I think that this year's WWDC obviously is going to focus a great deal on Apple Intelligence and what's going to happen with.
I don't think that's a bad thing because
No.
Craig is a very believable guy.
He is.
Well,
He's a good
he presents well.
He's got the Johnny Bravo hair. I mean, come on.
But let's keep in mind, folks, as we talk about this, that it's the end of an era, but Tim isn't done until September. Let's keep that in mind.
Yeah,
he's not officially done until September. So
that's true. But I think,
and he's not even done after that. He's still on the board. So
he is on the board,
and
he's
for all of his hard work for 15 years, they're giving him probably the worst job in the world.
Yeah, no kidding.
No, he's going to be hanging out with President Trump a lot. He's going to be really hitting, I think, the international airwaves a lot and airways a lot. And he's really going to be doing a lot of pimping for the company, trying to really shop what Apple Intelligence is going to do, what it will not do, and what they're trying to do with AI over at Apple.
It's good, and among other things. So it'll be interesting to see where it goes. So, but since we're talking about them talking tomorrow at WWDC, maybe we should talk about what else to expect at WWDC.
Yes, and what will we be expecting at WWDC tomorrow, Larry? What's the keynote really gonna concentrate on?
Well, what I did is, in addition to what the article we're citing, I went out and kind of looked at all of the rumor mills, put them all together, and took the top 9 that coincided. So these 9 are on everybody's radar as possible things that we'll hear and starting next week. It's probably a good chance we will. We're going to hear first about iOS 27 and iPadOS 27. Then we'll hear about Gemini-powered Siri. This is the biggie, boys and girls. So I don't know.
All right.
Cross your fingers and hide and hope, I guess. But the next thing, the Siri chatbot integration. This is what everybody's referring to as the glow part of the title. So when you're talking with Siri, the little island is going to be flashing and glowing at you. And there'll be a complete new Siri UI redesign, which includes that. All of it's centered around the iPhone's dynamic island. I don't know how they're going to handle that with the iPad, but I'm sure that's the same way, probably.
Probably,
Since-
I would think that they
Yeah,
would. I would
yeah.
think that you're
Yeah.
going to see more of the dynamic island on iPad than you
Very
have
possibly.
previously. You know?
The
It
other
could be.
thing that the camera app gains a complete dedicated Siri mode to be able to scan things like nutrition labels in your health app,
Sure.
log data from business cards. If they can pull that off and make it do it, allow it to do it without making a bunch of mistakes, they will have hit a big one there. So
Sure.
big photo app upgrade, photo editing features will all be AI driven. New wallet stuff, wallet app scanning, you'll be able to scan your physical passes and cards right straight into the wallet without any other fuss. Just scan it and do it. It's done. Watch OS 27. Chris, you'll be happy. There's a whole bunch of new watch faces that are supposedly going to happen.
Yeah, you're a big fan of those.
And
I like
Vision
watch
OS is getting a bunch of new stuff just for Chris G, I think.
Yeah.
Well, there's also, my understanding is they're also going to update calendar. Again, I'm hearing
Yep.
major overhauls. Not the article we linked to, but other articles I've read, they're going to overhaul calendar.
That's
But the
what I
big thing,
read as well.
the big thing I didn't see in this article that I've read in several other articles now is that this one's going to be about stability. This is going to be their snow leopard type
This
release.
is going to be the snow leopard version
Absolutely
of the 26s,
is.
right?
That's supposed to be the big news.
Very little on liquid glass here, just some minor design tweaks.
Yeah, I think the liquid glass changes are going to be more to Mac OS than they are to iOS because
I think you're right.
People have been pretty settled with these last few changes in liquid glass on iOS and iPad OS. They're not as happy with them on Mac OS.
The other thing that seems to run true through all of these stories is that we probably won't see very much hardware, if any at all. If we do see anything, you'll see a new Mac Ultra, M5, Mac Studio, and Mac Mini. And the reason is because developers use those two devices more than anything. So
I bet, Larry, that they're just going to be news announcements that are outside of the main conference presentations.
Because if it's anything, that's what it'll be, though.
You know what I also heard is that this Mac OS 27 or the 27s is going to be the version of the Apple OS language or that's going to completely go ahead and remove all Intel compatibility. So this is the version where any Intel processors will not be able to follow.
I'm already getting the notices. I have one app that still uses that.
I do too. I'm the same way you are.
Yeah, I got a notice. Printer. I got a notice from an uninstaller app called Trash Me that
pops right up in the OS here. It tells you Mac OS tells you. Nope.
I get it as a notification too, and which app is doing it.
Get ready to live without this, basically.
Yeah, I got a notification from Trash Me that said that this is it, kids. You won't be able to use this with Mac OS 27. So
I think what else is important to call out here is that the iOS 27, iPad OS 27, there are a bunch of devices that are theoretically going to fall off support with this one, like the iPhone, the 11s are going to fall off.
Yeah,
and the SE is going to fall. The SE is going to fall off, and some others.
The original SE, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I had heard that as well. So it's interesting. It's going to be interesting to see exactly what happens. We're going to see a number of additions in functionality in terms of applets, photos, wallet, and whatnot. I think one of the things most interesting in Wallet is you're finally going to be able to go ahead and add passes or cards for those things that you would not necessarily already have a way of adding a pass for.
Larry already mentioned that. He just mentioned that a minute ago. You're right. And that isn't, you're absolutely right. It's an interesting feature. I know that Photos is going to get a better cleanup supposedly, and
Mm-hmm.
some other features related to your ability to manipulate and whatnot within the photos. So I think all the apps are going to get a
Some
glow
nice
up, if you
updates.
will.
Some
Yeah,
nice
they'll get a little,
updates.
but I think they're going to be more little. I think Siri's the big thing, and the larger cleanup of the OS is probably going to be the bigger things
Yeah, right.
that we
The
see.
larger cleanup and the stability or the
Stability,
stabilizing of the
speed,
27s.
stability, all that
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah,
You know, it's interesting that this is going to be, like you said, the snow leopard.
that's the word I'm
Yeah.
hearing. You know, it's good. And for those who don't remember, Snow Leopard was the big cleanup of the Mac OS that happened, and everybody loved that version because it really was cleaner, smoother, more stable.
Mac OS Leopard was the big changeover.
Yeah, it was
for which got us into the Intel era, right? And then Snow Leopard really kind of cleaned all that up and really sort of tightened down and really hardened that version of the OS. And so since then, it's always been the Snow Leopard version of Pick an OS has always been the tightening down, the cleaning up, and the hardening.
One other thing probably worth repeating, and we've said it here before, but it has to happen. If they botch this thing again,
from
I can't even imagine what's going to happen.
From a Siri perspective, from an AI perspective, yeah. If they screw this up,
we let them get away with it for good reason, but they can't do it again.
No. If they screw this version of Apple Intelligence up, then their AI effort is effectively over.
But by the way, Chris, one small correction.
Sure, please.
Leopard was not the first version on Intel. It was Tiger just before it.
Oh, you're right. You're right.
It was Tiger just before it. Leopard added a lot of features. That was the big problem. It added a ton of features, and so we had some stability challenges that were cleaned up in Snow Leopard.
You're right.
So sorry about that. Just wanted to get that out there.
Thank you for the clarification. I really appreciate that. But
well, you know what? We've all lived through so many of these versions. Sometimes they all kind of blend together.
They do kind of get schmiggle themselves together, right?
I mean, all of us on this call, we all remember before there was an OS 10, what we now call OS 10 series of stuff. We remember the old Mac OS.
Yes.
We all remember the old Mac OSs, and
the some one of us without preemptive multitasking.
Yep.
Yeah.
Some of us remember it way far back.
Oh yes, in the dark time before the Empire. Yes.
Not a good thing.
No, it's really kind of interesting, the way that things have progressed over the years. And Larry, I don't want to beat on this, but I do want to go ahead and reiterate, effectively what you said before you were so rudely interrupted by Chris Gavula, is that this is the last at bat that Apple is going to get as far as Apple Intelligence and AI is concerned. If they don't score this time around,
we're 2 and 3 right now. They've got to do something.
Right. This is their third swing here. If they don't get it right this time around, they're going to have a really hard time coming back from.
I'd be honest with you guys. I think you guys are overstating that.
They will not mess this up.
No, I don't think so either. But I think you guys are kind of overstating the negative if they do, because quite frankly, they're still looking at record sales. I don't think it's hurt them one bit so far. It has not hurt them one bit.
Sales-wise, you probably make a good point.
Well, what's going to happen though? What's going to happen is they'll downplay the integration of AI.
Oh, absolutely. Oh no, I get you.
And that's the point. And that's the point I think that we're making.
I think they'll do that anyway to a certain degree.
I do too. And I will add this, and I've seen this in a couple articles. We need to not be surprised, because you're going to see a lot of articles are going to go ballistic over this. You may not see all these features in the initial developer releases.
Oh, you won't.
They may be,
without a doubt, you will not.
But I guarantee
they're going to hold it back. You're right.
Well, Siri, the new Siri is coming out with a beta label as part of this release in the initial release of iOS 20 in the initial release of iOS 27. When it finally does go general release, the new Siri will be in a beta version. Period.
I think there's going to be a lot of people who go, "Well, I expected all these things, and they're not here. Apple's not delivering again."
I would have one more,
and that would be wrong.
They would be wrong. Don't get excited yet.
One more bit of advice for our listeners: this is probably not the beta you want to get on round one. This
You are
is-
absolutely right, Larry. That's a very
Others
good
I
point.
have, and I'm not going to do it this time.
I have most years too, but you're right. There's so much potentially happening under the hood this year. The under the hood stuff is stuff that's
If you're
going to trip
going
us
to
up.
make the operating system better, you're going to be
The
tweaking
beta,
it a lot.
no, agree. The beta 1 for iOS or I'm sorry, Mac OS 27 will definitely be ugly. It
I
will
think for
definitely be
iOS too. I just
It's going to be interesting. I think that we're going to have to be very careful this time around compared to previous years. I'm excited about it all. Don't get me wrong.
absolutely.
But yeah,
well, Chris,
okay.
you can be Mikey and let us know when it's safe to jump in.
Let
We'll-
somebody else
we'll
blow it
see.
up for us, right, Larry? Let somebody else
That's
blow
right.
it up first.
Yeah.
We'll see how things go. But I do guarantee there's going to be a lot of changes this time around, and even after the 27s hit general availability or GA, all right, I know that there's a lot of folks that are going to wait until 27.1 or maybe even until 27.2 before they finally go ahead and jump on.
Okay. I think it's
Because
good
there's
to-
going to be, because of all the changes that
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
talking about, right? There's a great deal that is going to be buggy and problematic and potentially concerning.
The first couple of betas of iOS 26 on iPad OS
Yeah,
were a little bumpy because iPad
They
OS
were.
had huge multitasking
They
changes.
were.
Well,
and
the same thing with
other
iOS.
changes.
I did the
So-
iOS. I agree.
Yeah, but but on iPad OS it was an even bigger leap that they made.
it was.
And so there were a lot of challenges there for a little while.
was.
So yeah, I think we love it. We want guys. I think everybody wants to play with it, but take it with a grain of salt, kids.
If you do jump on, if you are the kind that it's going to jump on either the developer or the public beta, you may want to hang out and wait for some comments before you jump in.
I've also read. I would not be surprised if the public beta is actually a little more lagged behind the developer beta than it normally is. I would not be surprised.
That's always a good place to jump on if you're afraid.
Yeah.
Right.
I
But
agree.
even then, I might wait until beta 2 or 3.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how it goes, but it depends on how exciting and how compelling it looks. Because if it's very compelling, we're going to jump on.
It's very true.
We're
It's gonna.
we're jumping into the pool.
All this said, we're all going to download the damn thing on day one, aren't
Well,
we?
you know what, Larry?
Not me.
If nothing else, we probably will put it on one or maybe two devices, but not
Right.
everything we own. That's
Right.
how we tend to be, right? That's how we
Yep.
tend to roll. Which one?
Right.
Which one can I afford to sacrifice?
You dink your little
None
baby
right
toe
now.
in.
None right now. I don't have a spare Mac to do anything with, but yeah.
Yeah,
Right,
yeah,
right.
fair
You
enough.
hokey pokey yourself in. You put your right foot in. You pull your right foot out. Right.
Right. We try to justify it, but we often rationalize it, but we do it anyway.
Right. So we'll see. We'll definitely see what happens. A great deal is going to depend on what they speak to tomorrow.
Absolutely true.
In the keynote. It's going to be a very interesting time.
It's 105. Get your downloads going. No.
Yes.
All right.
All right. Clear your bandwidth, kids, because here we go. All
Here
right.
it comes.
And also what's going to be really interesting, and I was not aware of this next story, which surprised me a little bit, but apparently Apple is embracing something that they're calling a Lil Finder Guy. Now, what is this, Chris, and what's going on here?
I was kind of surprised. We were talking about this in the pre-show, and I was kind of surprised you hadn't known about him. Larry and I had talked about him as well.
Right.
He's a little kind of mascot that showed up in the Neo ads, the MacBook Neo ads, and the materials for them more than anything. But the present, it was in like the presentations discussing
Like a high-class Clippy.
He's kind of like a high-class Clippy, except he's not actually trying to help you do anything, really. He's
Right.
just there.
Well, please don't
He is
insult the
fun.
Little
He's
Finder
fun,
Guy by
that's
calling
all.
him Clippy. I mean, honest to God.
He's not. He's a little mascot. He's based off the Finder logo, and he's just this little mascot. And this article we're linking to really doesn't talk much about him, other than to say that he's popping up on the swag for WWDC already. They're embracing him as a mascot. It's like, oh, okay. I don't think they intended him to be that way. I think he was just a cute little thing that got thrown into some of the presentation.
Right.
But Here he is.
What's really cool here, though, I mean, some of the swag that you're gonna you get a tote bag, you get a water bottle. Obviously, Apple's big on stickers. They've been huge on stickers since forever, right? But also little cool enamel pins. All right. So this is just like you said. I mean, it's a little dude that looks like that sort of
he looks like an animated version of the logo. It's kind of what he looks
like. The Finder logo.
The Finder logo, yeah.
With the weird looking nose thing, right?
And you'll see in the picture, he's got the 2-color face and all that kind of thing going on. And in the picture, you'll see this picture was actually from one of the Neo items. Yeah. And he's actually playing with a little bitty MacBook Neo and his little Apple mug with his cup of coffee and his little remote control for his
iPhone 17.
Is that an iPhone 17 or is that actually I guess it is face down.
17 Pro. Yeah.
A little one face down. Yep. So with a MacBook Pro behind him, of some kind. So he's just a cute little mascotty guy, and he's going to be on a lot of stuff. I think we're going to see a lot more of him because I think people kind of said, "Oh,"
Yeah. Well, what's cool though is in this Apple this article that we are citing from 9 to 5 Mac. There's a couple of links here, including to some a link to some 5K wallpapers, which I think is kind of cool.
Yeah.
So if you're curious to know what this guy looks like, you go click the link in the show notes, and you'll see the links to the 5K wallpapers, which is kind of cool.
I think if nothing else, bringing back a little guy like this helps give Apple a little more personality back. It brings a little more personality back to the whole thing.
A little bit,
just a little, but it's kind of clever.
So, which is a little bit of fun in all of the way cool things that we're going to learn about tomorrow during the keynote. So
yeah, there we go.
So yeah, and that, kids, is this week's Apple segment. We've got a lot to look forward to tomorrow, and I know that we'll be talking next week quite heavily about what the results were and what we saw and what we've been learning about since the keynote. So stay tuned, and we will talk more about this and the results next week. But getting into this week's AI segment, I saw this next article on Apple Insider, and I was really kind of intrigued by this. There was one meeting in 2025 that really kind of changed the complete course of Apple's whole Siri and AI direction. All right, now this meeting was originally called by the now retired Jeff Williams, the former COO of Apple. All right. He's the one that kind of pulled it all together. Tim wasn't there, but Jeff was, and he kind of pulled everybody together. There were a number of C-level executives that were there, including Alan Dye and the Apple Vision Pro chief, Mike Rockwell. And they kind of changed. This particular meeting sort of changed the way that they looked at and approached AI. All right. Apparently, Craig sort of really took charge of this meeting, even though, who was it? Jeff sort of kicked everything off and called it to order. Craig was really the one that kind of drove this meeting. And he wanted to make certain that everybody knew and understood exactly what they were sort of focusing on. This meeting would go on to bring a recommendation to Tim on the way that they were going to take and approach AI going forward. They had little confidence in John Giandrea, who was the then AI chief. And so, as I said, Craig took charge of this thing, and Dan Riccio went ahead and said that they really need somebody to really take charge of AI. All right. And they had Rockwell go ahead and say, look, you need to develop a 5-year plan on how you're going to rework Siri. All right. And what needed to happen with this. But at least this was not a complete done deal, even though Rockwell was supposed to go ahead and come together with this recommendation. They did say that Giandrad needed to be replaced, and Craig wanted Rockwell to go ahead and oversee this whole thing. And wanted the whole thing to report to him, but as opposed to going directly to Cook. Anyway, they changed this whole thing around, and this was the one meeting that kind of pulled it all together. If it wasn't for this one particular meeting, it's largely seen though that Siri would still be floundering. Their direction would still be unknown and still be quite up in the air. Craig was really going to go ahead and get behind this and provide direction. Rockwell was going to really sort of be the head for all of this, et cetera, et cetera. But this was a turning point. And it was because of this one meeting that they finally got their crap together and they finally worked it all out in such a way that they've got the direction that they have now. So one meeting to rule them all, if you will.
There you
And
go.
hopefully this will be I've not done a really great job of summarizing this whole thing because there was a lot that at least in this one particular article on Apple Insider that they've not gone into. There's a lot of dynamic and a lot of detail and a lot of specifics that's been glossed over here. But this at least gave direction and purpose to their AI direction, and it finally hopefully got it together, and now they seem to have a direction and a purpose, which is something that they really haven't had for the last 4 or 5 years. Wouldn't you agree?
I think the company has, but their Siri has been a little bit
Lost.
lackluster to say the least.
Well, yeah, but the point though that I'm making is that I think they finally got their arms around it, and they finally have a strategy.
I think we'll see whether they got their arms around it or not when we hear what they have to say
Well,
tomorrow.
how effective it is is yet to be seen. All right.
Yeah, right.
But at least they have a direction and a purpose, and they've got an idea of the way that they want to go.
And I don't care about the glow and the pulsing strobe lights. Just make it work.
Larry, if I wanted the glow, I'd buy a freaking Google book.
Thank you.
Or a lava lamp.
More glowing. Or a lava lamp.
Or
There
a lava lamp. You know?
Or turn on backgrounds to your text or something.
There you go.
We already have the what I would call the idiotic Siri glow when we launched on devices already, on the screen. Not even sure I like that, but we'll see what it goes.
It's very purpley orange.
It's very intrusive, is what it is. We'll see what they do.
Well,
we'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
It's just me. I'm not 18 years old, and
no, but I truly believe that this one particular meeting finally got the troops rallied, and it finally gave the organization purpose and direction on the way that they felt that they should go. Yeah, now, whether or not it's successful remains to be seen.
We'll see. We'll see. I guess what I'm waiting for, Chris, is not just to see whether it's successful. I want to see if what they present, because they haven't presented anything
No,
at all.
they have not
So
yet.
I want to see if the way they present it is in a coherent kind of package way. In other words, is it really truly a direction, or is it lots of little directions just like kind of look good together? I don't know. We'll see.
We will, and we will see. We'll see
And I
tomorrow.
don't think they can get up tomorrow morning or tomorrow afternoon and say, and we'll tell you more about it later. It's coming. No, you need to tell us what it's going to be.
They need to go
That's
ahead
all
and let
true.
the genie out of the bottle tomorrow.
Right.
All right. They truly, truly do. If this is going to have a snowball's chance, they really need to go ahead and let us know in which which way is north.
Well,
All
Chris,
right.
the genie already comes out of the bottle. Haven't you seen the doc on the Mac OS?
Well, that's
The
true.
genie already comes out of the bottle.
That's true. But beside the point, I mean, they really
I
need
know.
to go ahead and
Yeah.
show us which way north is. And
I'm sold. I remember that TV show.
yeah.
Fair
So-
enough. Fair enough.
So we'll
I
see.
think we all do, Larry.
We'll see what happens. But
Oh man.
this one, I think this one particular meeting finally rallied the troops and got everybody marching in a single direction. Whether it's the right direction, we're
gonna see.
Yeah. So, but interestingly enough, and speaking of things happening with AI, something interesting and rather unsettling has been going on in Anthropic and has been happening to Claude. Now, what's going on here, Chris?
Well, it's that Claude. They've used Claude to help write code for Claude for a long time now. But as short as a little over a year ago, it was doing maybe 10% of the coding, and people were doing the other 90%.
Right.
Now it's 80% of Claude's self-coding, or its improvements are coming from Claude itself. And what's interesting about this is not only that that's happening, is that Anthropic is warning that, hey guys, we kind of maybe need to get some bumpers on this as an industry, not just us, because we need to be able to pull the back if this thing gets out of control. And the industry is not really listening, but big surprise there.
Well, I was just going to ask, how surprising truly is that? Because speaking of the genie getting out of the bottle, I mean, this is effectively how Skynet happened in the movies, right?
Well, and they're saying it's there. They're almost there. It's going to happen sooner than you think, and there isn't time for us to screw around with this. That's what Anthropic is already telling us.
Okay. All right. Well, isn't it easy just right now to go ahead and pull the plug on this a little bit?
Well,
or at least stick the code in the repository and then review it and then
you're missing the point here. What they're not saying is that they wouldn't pull the plug on it if theirs got out of control or that it was anywhere like that. What they're saying is this has to happen across the whole freaking industry, not
whole
just
AI
them.
world.
If they pull it, what's the point? Skynet will just be owned by a different company. What's the point? Everybody has to do that, and they have to check each other. That's what Anthropic is saying. They have to have the ability to check each other.
No, I agree with you wholeheartedly, but my point is, look, if you're concerned about AI writing its own code and things getting out of control, you may not have the ability to control what everyone else is doing, but you certainly have the ability to control what you're doing.
You know what? In simplified terms, this needs to be like open source software. These AI bots need to openly check each other's code. Isn't that what you were talking about, Chris?
Yeah, that's what they're saying too. They need to be able to look at each other.
The last thing that we need, to be very, very honest, is for ChatGPT to be modifying Claude, and Claude be, modifying Gemini, modifying.
That's not what. Yeah, that's
Okay.
not what I think they were saying either. I think what they're saying is be able to check to say, hey, we've reached a certain threshold, pull the plug on the whole thing across the board.
All right.
That's
if
what they're
that's
saying.
what they're saying, then yeah, I agree. All right.
But I don't see it happening either. I don't see that because everybody's going to be too afraid to stop because they'll say, well, what if you don't stop? I think they're all going to point at each other and say.
Half the freaking problem is everybody's worried about their freaking pocketbook and what's going to happen.
Well, there's that too. There's absolutely that too.
No. The bottom line with it all is who's making the money and where's the money going and who's getting to spend it all.
I certainly, and that's an interesting comment because we can talk about this a little bit in our next article as well, but spending in AI is kind of a joke at this point.
Yeah.
So we'll talk about that a little bit when we talk about the next thing. But the point I'm getting at is that it's who's making the money. You know who's making the money right now? NVIDIA. They're the only ones making the money on it right now.
Yeah,
really.
because they're the ones that's making the most on the hardware.
Everybody's spending more than they're making right now.
Right.
All of these guys are spending more than they're making. NVIDIA is the one
and
that's
the
not,
hardware
because
manufacturers are the ones that are making the money right now. They're the ones that are banking the bucks.
So who's going to stop this? That's the challenge. I mean, there's really nobody in any position to do that. They're not going to get together and do it. You're not going to get a corporate coalition. I mean, I know a lot of people would like to think that companies can self-regulate, but guess what, kids? They can't.
Oh, they can't.
They've never been able to. There's been no history in ever in
They
industry
can,
where
they just won't. That's the
Yeah,
well, that's why he's saying they can't. That's why he's saying
never been
they
a
can't.
history. Right. There's never been anything in history that ever showed us that companies were actually able to do it until somehow they were slapped or hurt in another way that made them do it.
Right. They have to be. They've got to have the skin that they have in the game has got to be pinched in order for them to go ahead and stop and take a look at what they're doing.
And until this goes boom, goes boom one way or another, it ain't going to happen.
No.
So anyway, but but again, the point they're making is that it's interesting because Claude's ability to write itself is getting there very, very, very fast, is what they were saying. And Claude, if Claude's doing that, it ain't the only one. That.
No. All of them are doing it to some extent.
And they're getting there for better and better. So yeah, it's a scary. Again, we've said this before. It's a scary time. Please, folks, watch what's going on. Watch what's going on around you.
Right, because let's face it. All right, the Terminator movies came out in the 80s. We had a handle on this. We knew what was coming. We knew what could possibly happen. 40 some odd years ago, we knew. All right. So, and here it is actually acting itself out. Yep. Let's not be stupid, kids. Let's get a handle on this before it gets out of hand.
Yeah, it's going to be a complicated time. Unfortunately, we have an administration that goes back and forth whether to do or not to do. So you're not going to get any governmental lead right now.
They've just demanded that they get all the first releases for AI. They want to know first.
So, but there's still no guidelines or bumpers or any kind of direction coming from on high to say, so where's it going to come from? That's the challenge.
Right. And what's really very, very interesting is that the American government has a chance to set a precedent for the world and say, you know what? We need to set some guidelines. We need to set some bumpers in place to make certain that we don't screw ourselves over. Here you go. Let's put it in place and show the world that we can lead.
What's interesting is that, and we've said about the good and bad of this before, is that the EU often comes up first with these kind of concerns and restrictions, and they haven't done that yet with AI. They haven't really done it yet.
AI. With everything else they have, they've stuck their nose where it's not needed or wanted.
They're having conversations, but they're not really doing anything or saying anything aggressive about it yet. And I find that kind of surprising, kind of against their normal behavior pattern. But if we're not going to do it, and the EU isn't going to do it, it sure as heck isn't going to come from Russia or China. That's for sure.
Oh,
we know that.
No,
we're not going to get it from them. So the point is, the bumpers aren't there. They're not going to be there, and we're just going to have to hang on for the bumpy ride, I guess. I don't like to say that, but I don't know how else this is going to fly.
I don't either. And unfortunately, in what I think what we're seeing is part of this poisoning that's going on, right? I will support this next story and say, yes, this is true. All right. And I'm certain that there are a number of other folks that are out there that will say, yeah, I can see it. At least I can see it, that AI has absolutely positively ruined the job market.
So here's two pieces to that. One is, you're absolutely right. And the article that we linked to actually talks quite a bit about in what ways that's true. And it's nothing really new that we haven't already talked about on this show before. I mean, the market, and the big thing here is that, the key takeaway on this is that people are cheating to try to get in on interviews, and they're using AI to write their resumes. They're using AI to write their cover letters, but I buy this, and so they're sending out hundreds of letters, based on AI driven kind of processes, if you will. And then what's happening is the companies themselves, the employers, are turning around and using AI to filter on those because they can't handle the number of resumes that are coming in.
Right.
And so it's a self-feeding thing. Neither side's talking to the other side. Not really. It's my AI talking to your AI, basically.
Right.
And you're not getting anywhere. And people are getting, on the employee side, you're getting ghosted. On the employer side, you're getting overwhelmed, and you're getting overwhelmed with candidates that can pass the tests, but they're not really passing the tests. They're kind of,
well, on paper they pass the tests, right? Because
right.
AI automatically embellishes
and it makes
your
but
experiences and your capabilities.
They may be passing the test, but in a lot of cases,
or they're using AI to cheat on tests, like skills tests,
right?
And it's impossible to know anymore.
Right.
What they said was the employers can't tell who's real and who's not real anymore.
Right.
They can't tell. And as you pointed out, Chris, I think you said it last week or week before last, you made the comment that, if you're an employer and you're one of those, you don't have 100% of the skills, you maybe have 90% of the skills. How do they know that they could still take a chance on you now? Because you didn't check all the boxes. AI made you check the boxes. You're not real anymore. You're not the real person. You don't, just because you got all the, we used to say, just because you got all the certs, just because you have all the certs doesn't mean you know anything.
Right.
And we used to say that you can pass the test once you have all the certs. Doesn't mean you know squat. Doesn't mean you have a really good sense of the world.
It means that you know it, but it doesn't mean that you're able to apply it. It doesn't mean that you're able to go ahead and actually do the job.
I would argue that's part of knowing.
You can study for any test and pass it.
Right.
You can be really good at taking tests. That's what it comes down to.
Right. So the thing here, the big problem here that we have with AI and the job market is that companies are using application tracking systems, or ATS, to go ahead and write a job description. All right.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then B, screen those resumes that come in to match it up against the job description that they've written. And if you don't check all the boxes for the requirements that they want, you get filtered out.
And the potential employees are using AI to write their resumes.
And that's the other side of the coin.
And guess where AI is getting the information about what ought to appear and not ought to appear? In the crap that the employers wrote.
Right.
Or they posted.
So what's going on is that you've got AI content feeding AI content.
Exactly.
They're bashing up against each other, and real people in the background behind both of these, meaning the hiring manager and the potential candidates, are getting completely overlooked by the computer systems. All right, because either there is no purple unicorn found, or everyone's a purple unicorn, and therefore there's no purple unicorns.
It's all meaningless. Yeah.
Right. It's all meaningless. And the people that could actually be very valuable, be very good at the job, are getting completely and utterly overlooked because everybody
looks good.
Looks exactly the same.
They look all the same.
Everybody looks as though they can do the job, and therefore you aren't getting the folks that actually could be very good at the job.
Let me ask you guys this. Have any of you actually, well, Larry's retired, so he wouldn't do this, but have you ever used the AI to try to improve your resume or improve your cover letters yet? Have you used it?
All the time, every day, out loud.
I was going to say no, because a lot of the AI resume things cost money.
Well, they also, to me, all look the same when I read them.
And that too, yeah.
And so I have absolutely not used it.
I will tell you right now. I will tell you right now. One, if you're currently looking for a job, if you're open to work, or if you're out of work, those two are two different things. Open to work meaning you've got a job and you're looking for one. Out of work meaning you're unemployed and you need a job. Any AI bot, Claude, Gemini, ChatGPT, whatever, will go ahead and take your existing resume and make it an ATS, or application tracking system ATS compatible resume. All right. Giving you the ability to pass through a potential employer's AI bot with a chance of getting getting in front of an actual hiring manager, without a doubt. So the free systems will all go ahead and do that. Whether or not you actually make it or not, nobody knows, because I've been looking for a job now for just about 6 months, just over 6 months, as of this recording, just over
Sure.
6 months, and I will absolutely positively tell you that there are hundreds and hundreds of jobs that are available each month that are actually sourcing for people. All right. And there are thousands and thousands of people that are applying for these hundreds and hundreds of jobs. All right. If you don't get your application in under number 100 or below, I can guarantee you that you will absolutely positively be ghosted. You won't get looked at. You won't get a response. You'll get an email. You'll get an email back that says we're looking at other folks.
And that's the other part of the problem, is that they're not the potential job seekers are not getting any feedback.
No, they aren't.
And so they don't know what they, but again, I think the problem is, if you're using AI to help your resume and help your cover letter, you're part of the problem, but you can't not be part of the problem because of the way the system is set up right now.
The other side of that coin.
You're on the treadmill running, Jane, get me off this crazy thing. There's nothing you can do.
Yes, you are. But the other side of that coin is that there are a number of different job sites that are out there that are all AI powered, that you throw in a resume, you pay a monthly fee, and they will automatically tailor you'll give information on what you're looking for, in terms of employment opportunities, what salary levels you're looking at, what kind of attendance opportunities, whether it's remote or hybrid or on-site. And that AI employment bot will go ahead and revamp your resume and automatically apply for you, creating a custom resume and a custom cover letter.
But you can see how that's
all
also
out.
part
And so there are things that you don't even know that you're applying for. That
you've applied for. But you can see why that's all part of the larger problem. It really is.
Absolutely. Because
it's
you have no idea,
cycle.
and you're throwing applications out there at jobs that you have no idea about. And if you do get called, you have no idea what the hell they're talking about.
But you're presenting yourself now in a very homogenized way that you didn't actually choose to present yourself in.
Yes.
And that's a problem. I think that's
it is a huge problem. And so,
but I don't know how we get out of that, though. I don't know how we get out of that.
Well, first of all, very simple. Don't chase after those services, because you're not going to get seen.
Yeah.
Those automatic AI applying things, jobhire.ai or whatever it is that's out there. I'm not sure if that's one or not, but we'll go. Don't subscribe to those services. You're not going to get seen.
Yeah.
And if you do get seen and they contact you, and that person or that person that's contacting you and reaching out to you is not going to continue with you, because you have no idea what the hell they're talking about.
That's right.
All right. They want somebody who has purposefully applied to and is aware of that particular opportunity. All right. And has an interest in joining that company. All right. And if you've got a bot that's applying for you and you have no idea that you've applied, who's going to go ahead and take you seriously?
That's and that's a big part of what's happening as well.
And that's a huge problem.
It's a vicious loop right now. Just,
it is. It is.
So
and the only way that we're going to get through this and past this and beyond it is if the system actually breaks and has a huge blow up, and it actually burns the entire system down.
It kind of already is starting there, but
I would hope that it is, but I don't know that it is.
Yeah. So we're going to see. I mean, we're definitely going to see. So it's not a good situation.
No, but this market right now absolutely positively sucks. I know that there are people that are out there. I'm not the only person who's been looking for 6 months.
My wife?
Oh, no.
Right?
It's
I'm not the only person who's been out there who's been looking for more than a year. All right.
No.
I keep on seeing this story on LinkedIn that this one Google engineer who's currently living out of his car because he hasn't worked in the last 2.5 years after he got laid off 2.5 years ago. He maybe has caught a 6-month contract, once or twice since the last 2.5 years since he's had a regular full-time job. I don't know if that's a real story or if it's an AI bot story. But to be honest, I wouldn't be surprised if it is real. All right? Because at this point, after well over 125 applications a month for the last 6 months, okay? That's well over 800 applications that I've made. All right? Holy smokes, kids. I haven't received one request for an interview, not one. All right? Not one.
Got to
For
get a
real
different AI.
job.
You need to get a better AI to write your resume.
Thank you.
I guess.
Kiss my butt. All right? Kiss my resume. All right?
Or maybe you need to use our next browser.
Well, maybe. But
and then there's also weird things.
The problem here is
Yeah.
that unless the system actually breaks down, crashes, and burns down, I don't think it's going to change. But that's
No.
just me.
No.
So that's the no all end all. And moving on to the next story, since you've mentioned
not
it,
anytime soon. Yeah,
right?
There you go.
DuckDuckGo is not only a search engine, but it has also got its own browser. All right, and apparently, it may be the non-AI browser of choice, especially for your iPhone. Isn't that right, Larry?
I don't know if it is or not.
Okay.
I'm probably the last person to be talking to about DuckDuckGo, and I don't mean that maliciously. I mean simply that I personally don't like it. I've
Right.
tried 5 times in the last several years to like it, to acclimate, and I can't. And the primary reason is I refuse for my primary browser on any Apple device to be anything other than Safari.
Sure.
I mean, that's
So?
it. And we are talking about DuckDuckGo, the AI, non-AI browser, not
Yes.
DuckDuckGo, the search engine.
Correct.
2 separate different things. But it doesn't matter whether I like it or not. It's getting a boatload of installs on iPhones.
It is. I mean, their installs were up as of the
Double,
week of June
almost
1st,
double.
right? Their installs were 61% higher, all right, than the previous week.
Well,
All
for
right.
Apple users, they actually are 95% compared to the week before the announcement.
Yeah, but overall, industry-wide,
overall, and
platform-wide,
61.
it's up 61% higher than the previous week at 76% above the pre-announcement daily average on the strongest day, which was June 1st. So
Now, I guess when I did try it once a long time ago, and the browser to me, I mean, it's like any other browser you put on my phone. It doesn't work. It doesn't give you the things that you've got on your, it just doesn't work.
But let's be clear. The article that we're quoting here, we're pulling from here, does talk about the browser downloads in terms of their numbers. But
right.
what they're making clear is it's not just about the browser. It is about the search engine as well, because people are unhappy
It's a
with Google's.
right.
Well, they're unhappy with the AI inclusions in Google, which are now getting in the way to the point where everybody's under the fold now.
Yes,
Before you
all
see
the
really
appropriate links.
But to
that
be
you might
fair
get
about
are
that,
below
I
there.
just last week downloaded the search engine. I mean, I plugged in the search engine into Safari, and no AI. And about the second day, a little bit of AI at the bottom said, "Sure, you wouldn't want to press this button for DuckDuckGo AI." So they're trying to get people to do that. It's there.
Right.
They-
I mean,
they
they're
have-
not
in the search
anti-AI.
engine.
Correct. They're
not
not
pushing it.
anti-AI.
And,
all right.
and they've said that, by the way. They have offerings for both AI and no AI. But Google does not give you a choice. You're stuck with that shit.
Right.
Sorry,
but
but
the point here is that DuckDuckGo is giving you the opportunity to go AI free. All
if
right.
you want, yeah.
Well,
If
this
you
big
want-
momentum shift here is all driven by the dissatisfaction of all the
And
Google's
that's my
pivot
point.
toward AI.
That's my point, Larry. That's exactly my point.
I get it.
It's not as much about DuckDuckGo's offering as it is about movement against Google's offering.
DuckDuckGo just happened to be there when Google did something wrong.
It's about Google's negative sentiment right now toward Google and their AI, because their browser results right now have become less and less useful to me. Google's results are crap. I'm so tired of looking at the AI BS at the top of it. It's not helping me.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
they can't if all that you're looking for is a too long didn't read or TLDR sort of summary, then those AI summarizations at the top can be a huge
But they're
That's what I've gotten
however
used to.
but again, they're wrong as often as they're not.
Yep.
correct.
That's a problem. That's
Correct.
the
You
problem.
don't know
And
you don't know if
and you
what
as
you're
the average
getting is
consumer-
correct or not.
And you, as the average consumer, aren't going to know the difference. And guess what happens when you do that? You get misinformation. And guess what world
And
we're
you're
living in
going to
right now?
believe the misinformation.
And you're going to believe it
you're going to think that
because
it's
of the
true.
way it's because of the way it's
Yes.
presented.
Right.
You're going to think
Yep.
it's true. And this is why we are where we are, because we're getting more and more of this. It used to just be the chum bucket news at the bottom of the page. Now it's the freaking AI summary at the top of the page.
It's
Guess
so
what, kids?
bad.
I don't want it.
I'm gonna say that stuff is so bad.
How
Yeah.
bad is it?
Bum.
There's AI anti data center people who will post unironically, not realizing what they're doing, posting results from AI as evidence that these data centers are bad. And I'm like, dude, really?
You just posted an AI story telling
I'm
me
like-
about this.
I
Yeah.
basically told them, you don't want a data center, become Amish,
Well,
pretty much.
well.
Anyway.
Don't get me started on data
I know,
centers.
no,
We don't have the time to go into that.
No,
but-
we
but
don't.
The point here with all of this is that if you're looking for something that will allow you to be as AI free as you can be, DuckDuckGo's browser will give you that opportunity.
I should point out there are other options out there as well, but they're the ones that are probably the biggest of the offerings out there. So
Right.
take it for what it is.
Take it for what it is. But if you're really looking to disable all the AI features in a browser, you can go to noai.duckduckgo.com and go from there.
And
All
you know
right.
what? When you look at that browser, you're looking at what Google or Chrome used to look like.
It's very true.
It's
Yeah,
just
it's
starts right
very
out.
true.
There's other ways too.
Search
Because you can
results.
look at there's a fork of Firefox called Iceweasel.
Right.
You
True.
can look at that. And
Yep.
there are other browsers out there as well.
I'm a fan of Firefox, but I will say this much: when it comes to where you have to do application management, where you're using a browser to manage the application, it has one of the worst compatibility records right now, unfortunately.
Firefox.
But yeah, it really does, unfortunately, because it used to be the best. I mean, and I do like a lot of the things that they're doing, but guys, you got to get more compatibility going in there. Make me happy, because I'd use you more if you would.
Right. But the point I guess that I'm making is it's available if you're wanting it. All right. If you want to go AI free on your browser, that's the way to. You want to get away from the chum bucket stuff, which could be correct or could be incorrect.
Yeah, you don't know.
You're never going to know, because there's just as much incorrect information available on the internet as there is correct information on the internet, and you don't necessarily know if you're going to get right or wrong.
It's all feeding the models, kids. It's all feeding the models.
It's all feeding the models, and that's what you've got to keep your head straight about. Anyway, given all of that, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to move us to our mobile segment. All right, and this is kind of a bit of a break, I think, from all of the AI crap that we've been talking about.
We'll get into it later.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but this is actually something I think is kind of cool. This is part of the Wayback Machine and part of some of the stuff that you may be able to go ahead and look at. But there is actually something called the Virtual OS Museum. Larry, what is that, and what is it all about?
You know what? I stumbled on this thing looking at some article from The Verge, and I said, let me just, as a lark, go out and read about this. And you know what? The minute you get into this, if you got a few years on you and you've been in this tech world most of those years, you're going to have a ball here. It really is well done. This guy he's put a world of work into this.
This is from Terrence O'Brien.
The older you are, the more you'll appreciate all of the operating systems that are showcased in this museum. And since I enjoyed it so much, I guess that's because I'm old, but
Right.
a guy named Andrew Warkington created this. It's a comprehensive, interactive, basically a digital archive totally dedicated to preserving, exploring computing history. I believe there are now over 1,700 operating systems in it.
Well,
It's
1,700 distinct installations of 600 different
well,
operating
600,
systems
yeah, but
for
still,
over 250 different computing platforms.
it's unbelievable. But instead of requiring you or a user to hunt down all the disk images and try to figure out how to set up your emulator to work with that, this is all pre-configured on one big Linux machine, a virtual machine.
Right.
It's got
127 gigabyte worth.
yeah, can you imagine that? Well, they got a light version, Joel. You can download that.
They do have a light version, but if you
Yeah,
really
I'll
want to
tell
take a
you
look at
about
this, and
that
you can
actually.
download this, if you have the disk space, you can download this directly to your own computer at 127 gigabytes.
I mean, this is over 20 years. He's spent 20 years working on this, but they start the operating systems back in 1948 and go all the way through now. 48. That was the Manchester baby. That's the
Yes.
very first
Mhm.
stored program on a computer. And then they get into workstations like Sun OS and
Yep.
Next Step. I mean, if you remember Next
I
Step, you're old. I'm telling you.
I have to remember. I have to tell you, Larry. I had looked through this like last week. I was looking through this site,
Right.
and I found myself going, "Oh, I remember that one. Oh, I remember that one. Oh, I did that one too. Oh, yeah." You start doing
Yep.
that. You just go think, "Oh, I want to look at this." You know,
I mean, I learned
it's
part of my
amazing.
code learning was on an old compact machine.
Oh, sure,
Right.
sure.
Now
But
the
then
one
it
thing
gets
that you
in,
have
then it gets
to,
into Apple II and the Commodore 8-bit stuff and
Yep.
Atari and all the CPM variants. My God, we had a million of those.
a million different
All of
CPMs.
DOS,
If you were
OS,
interested in BOS
BOS.
or,
You remember that? My God.
you
Mhm.
know, I mean, you know, your Radio Shack computers and in
And Chris, even your favorite, the TI-99.
or the TI Pro. Yes. Yes.
Even
the
your
TI
favorite.
Pro. But
Well, I can hold my hand up and say I was on the Longhorn initial beta
yeah,
with Windows.
Oh,
I was
yeah,
there.
so was I.
Yeah.
So was I. But
I
what's
mean, this is so cool. I mean, if you are a geek of any ilk, you have to go look at this.
Right.
And like Joel said,
Right.
121 gigabyte compressed download for 174 gigabytes
Right.
total.
If you're 45 or older, then there's
Yeah.
going to be some stuff here that you will
And
be
it's
interested
the
to
way he's
see
done
again.
it. It's so cool. It's so real. I mean, oh my God, it's
Right.
real.
If you are under the age of 45, there's stuff that you need to go look at here, and you will find absolutely positively amazingly interesting
You'll
because
say they
you
did
you
it how back then?
yes, you used to do what? Now the thing here is that you will not find all of the cool or otherwise third-party apps
Oh no, this
available.
is
It's going to be
just the
basically
operating system.
the text editor or the cool utilities that may have been available with
Right.
the vanilla OS version. All right, and that's about it. However, being able to see what that OS looked like, how it functioned, and what was included with it out of the box is interesting enough. Forget the third-party software stuff, right? But it'll be interesting. You'll be interested to see, you know, what the calculator looked like, what the file manager looked like, what the text editor looked like, and what you were able to do with the OS in and of itself.
A spoiler alert, we have come a long, long way. Trust me.
Oh my goodness,
God.
yes. So
Uh-huh.
so this is definitely something that if you're any kind of computer enthusiast at all or interested in any kind of digital history, this is something that you should take a look at. This is cool.
True.
It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun.
This is kind of cool. So
That's it.
to be able to see where we've come from and where we've gone to, you know, where we've come to. in terms of where we are today with all the AI crap that we're doing, and where we've come from and how it looked, 40 or so years ago.
But you know what you can see in all of this stuff? You can see bits and pieces of what was to become what is now. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it's very true.
Really.
Yes. And it will be interesting to see all this stuff. But this guy, Andrew Workington, has been pulling this stuff together since
His
2003.
life project.
Well, yeah, he's been doing this for the last 23 years,
Yep.
Pulling this all together. And
Good on you, and congratulations on you, by the way.
Absolutely. Thank you,
him doing
Andrew,
this.
for
This is
doing this,
amazing.
because I mean,
Yes,
oh my
thank you.
goodness. To be able to find a compiled copy and to get it working of the original the very first stored computer program from 1948. All right, and be able to run that on a some sort of a virtual machine, so that you can play with it, is just amazing. It'll be text-based, kids. Don't expect anything else other than that. But I mean, from 1948. But I mean, oh my goodness.
No buoys.
Oh my goodness. That computer program is still around almost 100 years later. Almost 100 years later. 80 some odd years later is absolutely amazing. So definitely worth a look, and definitely worth your time tooling around in the Wayback Machine there, right?
And this truly is our Wayback Machine, isn't it? It really is our Wayback Machine.
It is. And now to go to the opposite end of that, the Pixel Watch 5, all right, was found in a very unusual place. And where was that, Joel?
Near St. Martin, underwater.
Now, how the hell did the Pixel Watch 5 get found underwater?
Okay, so there's been no official announcement, so this could largely be BS. However, there was a guy scuba diving near St. Martin. Randy Pitchford is the name of the guy who found it. Underwater, he found what is supposed to be the Pixel Watch 5. You can see in the picture there is clearly on the kind of on the right side, right upper right hand corner of the picture they have in the article, it says Pixel Watch 5. Of course, since it's been underwater, it no worky, but which kind of tells you that they're not waterproof,
Yeah,
or
just
not
a little
as
bit,
waterproof as they could be or should be.
Right. Well,
right?
Granted, at the bottom of the ocean in near St. Martin, it could be, I don't know how deep it will be, probably more than 30 feet for sure. But
Well, yeah, right. But the whole idea here is that this is obviously some level of prototype, and there was potentially a Google employee who had taken this device out into the world. Was diving with the watch, trying to test it underwater, and for one reason or another, lost the watch.
Joel, was this guy scuba diving, it said?
yes.
See?
Okay,
The guy
that
that
probably he was below 26 feet, which is about as far as you can go if you're snorkeling. So
Yeah.
Right.
So
But if he's scuba, it could be further.
right.
The guy that
the
that
idea
found
here
it
is
versus the guy that lost it. Yeah.
right. So, but the point here is that
he might have been on a boat and dropped it. Who knows?
Right. You don't know. Right.
could have been, but this thing was obviously out and about in the world, and somehow had gotten lost.
Well,
and then
to be fair, though, we don't know it's a true story, right?
And
That
then
Joel's point at
Randy
the
picked this thing up, and you're right. We don't know if this is legitimate or if this is bullshit or not.
It's
We're
interesting.
it's like looking for a version of the iPhone in the bar story, right?
Yes.
We're looking for a version of it, right?
Yes.
So, but it's still interesting. I mean, even as a story, it's interesting whether it's true or not. It's fascinating. Somebody would just lose it randomly. Here we go.
Well, interestingly enough, I mean, you don't know who exactly lost it. All right. And this guy isn't trying to sell it back to Google, right? like the guy that found the iPhone 4 in the bar,
Mhm.
right? Back in the day. Um, but at least, um, it appears that Google had let knowingly or unknowingly this gotten out into the world
Yep.
and got lost in the water somewhere during a
Oops.
diving or boating activity. So, and even we're studying an article from Droid Life in the show notes, and we don't necessarily know if this is baloney or not. And even the article says they don't know if it's baloney or not.
Right.
But it's been interesting, right?
Well, it's an awesome story regardless. It just is.
It's just this is just like a lot of phone leaks have gotten out. It's just this first time it kind of happened underwater, which I find completely interesting.
Right.
It's like usually it's oops, the phone was left in the bar. Oh, and oh, by the way, it still works.
Yeah.
Nowadays, for this is like, for all we know, the watch itself might not even be a real watch. It could be a dummy if they can't open it up.
True. I mean, it would have been more believable to me if it was a storm drain in Brooklyn, but I mean,
Right.
I don't know about Brooklyn, but the storm drain, yeah. All
somewhere.
right. But anyway, it's interesting. All right. And we'll see and hopefully learn more about the Pixel Watch 5 or later in the coming weeks, months, or years, depending on what Google decides that they want to go ahead and do. But they've at least, according to this article and the picture that you've got in this article, hopefully something's coming. But we'll see. And you know what I'm going to do now?
Break.
What are you doing?
I'm going to move us to our Windows and Linux segment, but I'm going to do that, you're right, Joel, right after this brief message.
Yes.
Hi. This is Christopher Spera from iTechGear.org. I wanted to talk with you today about becoming a contributing donor to the site. iTechGear.org has been around for almost 15 years. In fact, our anniversary is just around the corner on January 10th, 2025. 15 years. Where has the time gone? I've never really asked for any kind of donations for the site. It's always been about me providing value to you, a site visitor or podcast listener. The iTechGear Weekly is now in its 4th year of production, and Chris G, Joel, and Dr. Mr. Larry McJunkin and I are having a really great time providing you with some of the best free tech talk available from time-tested original internet writers, testers, site founders, and professional writers and editors on the internet. I truly believe that our crew has some of the best and most qualified pundits and commentators on the internet today. And we're not hobbled by any kind of sponsorship or affiliated relationship or other time-bought posts. It all comes from the heart. Unfortunately, times are kind of tough. And since the COVID-19 pandemic of 2020 to 2023, yes, almost 3 full years, times have become increasingly difficult for small independent sites like iTechGear.org to stay afloat. I normally do this with a portion of the salary I make from the day job, but with the IT market so tight right now, it's really difficult sometimes for many to make normal household ends meet, let alone fund a site like iTechGear that might decide to bring in a buck or two. It ain't easy. If you find any of our content on iTechGear or from ITGW to be of any value at all, I would seriously appreciate you donating as little as just $1 to the cause. While we do have a Patreon site, it's hard to keep one website up, let alone 2.
And since it's really only me doing the work, our Patreon site hasn't really helped us at all. If you can make a donation to the site or to the show of any amount, I'd be forever grateful. All donations will go to site maintenance, hosting, podcast hosting, and everything iTechGear related. Donations can be made to my PayPal account at chris@itechgear.org. Make a donation. We'll thank you immediately on the next ITGW episode and voice our gratitude. I want to thank you. We appreciate your consideration, time, and attention. Now let's get back to the latest iTechGear Weekly episode. And welcome back to the iTechGear Weekly episode number 173, Lil Finder Guy. And I want to go ahead and I want to get us into our Windows and Linux segment. And speaking of AI, Joel, I know that you sent this story around earlier this week with a very, very huge eye roll.
Yes.
We know this makes you happy.
Well,
Yeah,
yes or
true.
no. I think it kind of turned Joel's stomach a little bit here, but I could be wrong. But apparently Ubuntu is going to be the Linux distro for AI, at least according
For
to ZDNet.
agentic AI, according to Mark Shuttleworth, who is the guy who owns Canonical. And the articles from Stephen Von Nichols. I
love SVJ. He's a good guy.
I've met him in person several times, and he is a really nice guy. So, but from curl to bash to confined snaps, in his keynote at Ubuntu Summit 2604, Shuttleworth framed open source as a raw material, the next wave of technological disruption. Specifically, he stated that the pace of AI-driven software innovation has outstripped traditional packaging and release processing. For AI, Linux users must move beyond APT
or advanced
Red Hat
packaging tool,
Manager,
right?
and so on and so forth. So, he's going to sandbox everything from snaps to LXD to multipass and so on and so forth. And
blah, blah, blah. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but here, and I actually, well, in many ways, I have no problem with this but it just depends on how it is done. And I haven't actually played with 2604 just yet. At least I don't think so. I have to look. My Surface Pro may have it on there, or I can upgrade to it quickly. But I have no problem with it being included. The tools being included as in Ubuntu.
Right.
I just don't want it being shoved in our face like it's being done with Copilot,
being done in Windows, right?
and and Mac OS too. So I mean,
well, potentially in Mac OS. We don't necessarily know how it's going to happen in 27, right? All right, but and hopefully Apple's been watching, and will not do what Microsoft is doing.
Well, and Shuttleworth too,
Windows 11.
So Canonical. Yeah, I mean, have the tools there. Let me make the choice
of how integrated I want it to be.
Yep, and you can use it in developing packages and all that crap, and I don't even have to know about it. I mean, just put it there. Build your packages however y'all want to build it. I don't care. But just don't shove the AI tool in my face. Let me make the decision on whether to use it or not. That's all I ask.
Right, but the point here is, though, that Ubuntu 26.4 is going to be where they're starting to integrate AI into the OS.
Which is the latest LTS, by the way.
Right. The goal for 26.10, which will come out in October, hence the .10, right, is a desktop where you can press a button and talk into any field that you could previously type in, and which effectively makes this a OS that you can talk to.
Yep.
All right.
What Joel mentioned earlier, let me make the decision.
Yeah.
Got to give Apple credit, even for what little Apple intelligence they have right now. There's a big green toggle on every device. All you got to do is slide it off, and it's pretty much gone.
Yeah, and that's supposed to be in iOS 27 as well. There, I've heard the same, that they'll continue to have the big toggle to turn it off if you don't want any of this crap.
They can't go wrong by leaving it.
Mm-hmm.
Nope.
No, but the long and the short of it, this is where Linux starts integrating AI into the operating system. You knew it was going to happen. It was coming.
Yeah.
All right. Because Linux
Yeah, of
is not
course.
going to. Linux is Mac OS is doing it. Obviously, Windows 11 is doing it. Linux wasn't going to completely uh, um, um, eliminate itself from the AI race.
Of course.
So I'm not surprised that they're doing it. I was just hoping that they would do a little bit more in discerning in a discernful and educated, or at least uh, thoughtful implementation.
Yeah. Well, what you can be assured of though with the open source community is, if Ubuntu goes that the full integrated direction, there will most decidedly be other Linux distros out there that don't do that, because that's how Linux is, and that's
Very
the
true. There
beauty
will be
of open
some. There will be
source.
some distros, right?
Mhm.
Ubuntu is a Debian derivative, so it may not
Yep.
be fully Debian that is AI enabled, but it's at least some versions of Debian will be AI enabled, and some may not be as enabled as others, but they're all going to have AI integrated to some extent. All
Yep.
right. It's just how deeply is it going to extend through the entire thing?
Yep.
All right. And we'll see how that is.
Mhm.
I don't know. You think this is a good thing, Joel, or a bad thing, or what? Or is
I'm
it just a thing?
It's just a thing. I think I'm kind of indifferent about it.
Okay.
I'll have to play with it to
Okay.
actually see,
Right.
you know, what to what extent it is,
Sure.
but if it's, like I said, if they do it the right way, I have no problem with it. Just put the tools there, let me turn it on, turn it off, do whatever I want to do,
Right.
then I'm happy with it. Then I actually here's a hint, Mark. Uh, if you do it that way, I'm more actually likely to turn it on.
Right. If
Give
it's
me the
not if it's
option.
not
Right.
really intrusive, all right, and
Right.
if I can customize how integrated I want it to be,
Yep.
all right, whether it's full blown, fully computer created database that does this, that, and the other thing like you see in Star
Right.
Trek, or if it's me just type into whatever AI agent I choose to integrate, fabulous, all right, or whatever. But if you allow me to have control over this, I'm more likely to have it be part of the operating system than not.
Well, and let's,
Yep.
like you just said, Microsoft shoved it down our throats in a very blatant way, and there was a lot of negative feedback to it. Google's starting to do that with with their, and I don't like what they're doing with it
Or with
either
Google
at this
Book.
point.
Yeah.
Or with Google Book and all that, but they're shoving this down our throats. And
Right.
I haven't seen, now, to be fair, I haven't played with Android 17, so I haven't found the big red turn it off switch, if there is
Right.
one.
Right.
I don't know if there is one or not. It doesn't seem like that based on the way they're pushing forward at Google AI, but we'll see. I'm hoping they're not going to go down that path. I'm hoping they're going to give us an out like Apple seems to be giving us. And I hope Ubuntu gives us an out. That's what I want. If I want it, it's on. If I don't want it, it's off. That'd
I
be
agree.
great if
I
they do
agree.
that. If
And like Apple lets you turn it on globally on the device, but you can turn it off in Apple Mail right at the top.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Perfect. Let each component be separate.
Right.
Mhm.
Right.
Well, we'll see. We'll see where everybody's going with this. Obviously, in the next few months.
Right.
Yep.
And speaking of shoving things down our throats,
Oh,
one of the things that Microsoft's been doing
yeah.
is they've really been pushing the new Outlook at us. And in an interesting article from NeoWin, Microsoft
And
is highlighting, so it must be true.
exactly.
Right.
Microsoft is
That's right.
highlighting 15 specific reasons to use the new Outlook versus the classic Outlook, aren't they, Joel?
That's what they're saying. And one
Mm.
thing is I'm not clear of here is whether I use Outlook at work, but I'm not sure whether I'm using the new one or the old one. I
Oh,
don't know. Yeah.
Well, look in the upper right corner, and if you see a
I'll have to
toggle
wait till tomorrow
board,
because I ain't gonna touch that machine right now.
oh,
no, I
gotcha,
get you.
gotcha,
I get you.
gotcha.
All right,
Yeah.
but if
Understood.
you've got a toggle to turn the new Outlook on in
I
the upper
probably
right
am
corner,
using the new one because I'm that kind of person. I will use a new one if I am allowed to, you know. But
I've the classic version is the one that's got all of the meeting integrations. It's got all of the OneNote integrations. It's got all of the um,
mhm.
features that everyone is currently used to. I mean, there are 15 specific features that or reasons that Microsoft is highlighting, trying to entice people over to this. They want to get people off of the older version because they're sick and tired of maintaining it. They're sick and tired of having to keep this thing alive. So
Mm,
yeah,
I
they
get
want
it.
the thing you get things like pinning an email, snoozing an email, scheduling the or a send of a specific email, which is exactly what you would think it would be.
Mm,
Send after you can write an email, say in the morning because you have the time. You don't have, but it needs to go out by such and such time in the afternoon. All right, but you already know what you want to say. Um, simplified folder sharing. You can follow a specific meeting, which basically means that I can't attend, but I'm still interested in getting information on what the outcomes of this meeting are. Um, uh, getting a meeting recap, which after a specific meeting takes place, you'll get a recap with recordings and transcripts and shared files. I'm not going to hit every single one here because, like I said, there are 15. Um, the ability to change a recurring event in calendar, renaming your email account, and specific keyboard shortcuts, all right, among others. Um, it's a decent list of things that are available, but it's not all encompassing. Um, and
It's missing one important button there.
which is
The
what?
one that says switch me to a better email client.
Well, you're so picky.
Uh,
Outlook. Part of the problem that folks have in terms of Outlook is the way that the classic Outlook is completely the users and the administrators have complete control over where the data is stored. The new Outlook, everything is stored in OneDrive
M360.
and the Apple
Yeah.
or not the Apple, but the Microsoft Cloud. All right,
Right.
and um, it better monetizes OneDrive for Microsoft than the classic version. And that's really
Sure.
why Microsoft is trying to push everybody to the new version of Outlook. It better monetizes OneDrive and gives them um, a better opportunity to make money um, uh, with OneDrive and their cloud and Azure. Um, the problem with that with the classic version obviously is that data is more on-prem or more users or administrators have the ability to control where the data is stored, and Microsoft obviously wants you to store it in Azure or OneDrive so that they have the ability to charge you for that storage subscription, and when you
and use your data.
right and use your data
Mhm.
for training and for other purposes, for putting feeding you ads and whatnot. Um, when you have control over the data, they don't have the ability to do that, and that's what they're really trying to control. They're trying to monetize Outlook.
Of course.
And not only that, the older Outlook is way bloated, and it's a nightmare to maintain. And they want to get off of that platform for the subscription reasons as well as the code maintenance reasons. So there you go. But that's really what they're trying to go ahead and do here, and why they want you on the new version of Outlook as opposed to the old or the classic. So, but
Yep.
yes.
No, just agreeing with you.
Oh, okay, cool. But that is this week's Windows and Linux segment, and I want to go ahead and move us to the tip of the week segment as we enter the back half of the show and really get into some of the cooler things that we have to offer from a crew perspective. But before we actually get to this week's tip, I want to go ahead and again and remind everyone that iTechGear was founded with the intent of making technology easy for everyone to use and understand. And this team specifically has dedicated their writing careers to this specific purpose. And so every week, the iTechGear Weekly is going to feature a new computing tip authored by one of our experienced editors. Questions, concerns, comments, requests, suggestions, etc. can be sent to tips@itechgear.org. And if we happen to use your question, request, suggestion, idea, or whatever on the show, we will go ahead and give you your 15 seconds worth of fame. So go ahead and send those in. This week, however, I want to go ahead and relate to everybody something that I found that was a huge benefit for me. I've got I've made this no big secret here. I've got an M1 Max Apple Silicon MacBook Pro from 2021, and it's got a 2 terabyte drive on it. But more than half of that space was eaten up by data, and I've tried and used cleaners to clear off some of the data, and I've never gotten more than a couple hundred gigabytes of free space. And I was like, I know I'm not using or have a whole bunch of stuff stored on this drive. What's eating up all of this? So I pulled up the settings app, system settings, and I clicked on general, and I clicked on storage, and let it do its thing. And I found that my applications were taking up 1.58 or more terabytes worth of space. And I know I don't have a terabyte and a half of applications on this particular drive. I know I don't, because I don't use that
There's
much.
no way.
All right, I don't have that much space. I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, what the heck is eating this stuff up? So it goes through and it goes through and it goes through and it does the stuff, and I find that I have over a terabyte and a quarter of space eaten up by something called system data.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, okay, well, if the cleaners, if Clean My Mac and other cleaners aren't finding it and getting it and removing it, where's all this coming from? So a couple of quick Google searches, and I found out that, all right, a lot of that data is really eaten up or occupied by a folder called caches in your library folder. And while some of this data is needed by the operating system, a lot of it gets orphaned, and a lot of it gets meaning that a lot of it gets used, and perhaps you install or uninstall or aren't using applications the way that you were before, and a lot of that data doesn't purge on its own. All right, so I'm like, okay, well, how do I know the computer's gonna reclaim some of that freed up space if I ever do get it freed up, but some of those caches are going to recreate. But how do I get some of that space back? So I found this wonderful little process, and it's actually really very, very simple. You can go ahead and open up Finder by clicking that little Finder Guy icon for Finder. All right, and then pressing Shift, Command, and G which will open up a go-to folder window. And in that window, you type the tilde key, which is to the left of the number 1 key, and a shift. So shift and a inverse accent or tilde, and then slash library slash caches in that go-to folder window, and you press enter. And it's going to go to the caches folder under your library folder on your Mac. And at that point, if you press Control A and then right-click those highlighted folders and choose Move to Trash, it's going to take everything that's in your caches folder and move it. And these may be tens of thousands of items. All right. It'll move everything to the trash folder. All right. Everything that's in there, it'll completely empty out your caches folder. Now, you may be saying, all right, wait a minute, Chris, but what if I actually need some of that information? Well, interestingly enough, the information that your computer actively needs after you reboot will get recreated automatically. It'll all come back. All right. So if you go ahead and after you've moved all those folders to your trash, you empty your trash folder, you won't necessarily see all that folder space reclaimed immediately, but you will when you restart your Mac. And that information that your Mac does need will be automatically recreated, and you're going to end up with like a gob of space. I pulled back, and I've got now over 1.6 terabytes of free space. So all of the space, I mean, I maybe had 50 terabytes of, or I'm sorry, 50 gigabytes of free space before. Now I've got over 1.6 terabytes of free space, and that information that my computer needed to run correctly was all recreated at startup, and I was able to reclaim over 1.5 terabytes of space. And this is huge.
You can write a little shortcut that'll do that automated for you. It'll
Sure.
empty your cache folder out.
Yes, you will. And what's interestingly enough, it'll be a hell of a lot easier to do in iOS 27 because the shortcuts app is supposed to get some huge upgrades in iOS or macOS 27 when it comes out in the fall. And hopefully as part of the developer and public betas that are coming out in the summer here. But this is a huge way to reclaim a ton of space. I got back more than half my drive. I'm so crazy with space now, I don't know what to do with myself. I was like short on space, and now I've got more space than I know what to do with. And it's absolutely fabulous. I can save things to my drive that I didn't think I had space for now. I can pull a heck of a lot more data back, and I can throw it up from one cloud service to another and free up some space and get it from one cloud service to another if I want. And I'm able to have more open space on my drive, which means I've got better performance on my M1 Max than I previously had before. So again, just a quick review: open Finder, press Shift Command G. A go to folder window is going to open up. Type tilde/library/caches CACHES and press return, and then select everything in the caches folder, which is going to be a ton of folders, and then delete all of that. Move it to your trash, and then empty your trash, and then restart your Mac, and you're going to get all this space back. And you're going to wonder why you didn't do this earlier. It's going to speed up not only your computer, but it's actually going to make if you're using Time Machine, it's going to make some of your Time Machine backups smaller as well, which will save you space on your Time Machine drive too. So there you go. Delete your Mac application cache or or unneeded system data, and get back a ton of your drive. And that is this week's tip of the week. So I'm going to go ahead and move us to our pick of the week segment. And before we get to that for this week, I want to take a moment and just remind everybody that our show picks are typically hardware and software and other items of interest that we have individually purchased and that we actually use and that we like enough that we want to recommend them to you, our growing listener base. These are not paid advertisements or any items that we have any kind of affiliated marketing relationship with. If they were, the editorial policy over at iTechGear.org indicates that we have to let you guys know about that affiliated relationship up front before we even get into the tip or into the pick. These are just things that we sincerely believe in that we want to bring to you at the end of each show. Why, Joel?
Because we like you.
There you go, Joel. And you've got the pick this week. So what did you actually pick?
Yeah. So, as everyone knows, I am a avid hiker, and I have multiple packs that I like to use when I hike, especially as the weather gets warmer.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things, especially if like if you're on a supported hike like I do with these mammoth marches, these are supported hikes where I don't have to carry like lunch and stuff like that, but I do have to carry some things like water, first aid kit, a battery bank, um, extra socks, rain gear, stuff like that.
Sure.
And so on days like that, like or when I don't have like if the weather is gonna look extremely dry all day and I don't have any need for more than just an emergency poncho, the Osprey Talon 6 is what I like to use.
The Osprey. What actually is that, Joel?
Well, it is a lumbar pack, but us 80s guy or 80s people who grew up in the 80s, finished growing up in the 80s, I should say, used to call these fanny pack. All right. It has two water bottle holders on each side. Then it also has hip belt pockets, and the one thing I absolutely love about the Talon 6 is these hip belt pockets, I can open them and close them while it's still on my waist, which I can't say the same for my bigger pack. I can do it on the bigger pack. It's just kind of a hassle.
Right. But effectively, this is a fanny pack that you wear on your back. Right?
Yes.
So you turn it around backwards.
You could do it either way. I mean, you
Right.
could wear it up front. It would be probably less comfortable if you did it that way, though.
Sure. Because it's
But
designed
it
to
does
be worn in your back and support your lumbar section, right?
correct. So
Okay.
and puts the weight of the contents on your waist. Which is typically backpacks also do that too with their hip belts. So, but this one is nice because it keeps your back nice and airy and free, and you don't have the pack resting on the upper parts of your back, which can get quite hot in the kind of weather we typically get in the summer. So, this is the pack that I wore when I did the Southeast Ohio Mammoth March last year and went and did all 20. I also happened to take this with me to McAllen, Texas on a mission trip, and I use this for carrying around my water bottles as I was doing work on the mission trip. And it was nice because I had two 32-ounce bottles in the bottle pockets. I had first aid kit, a couple snacks, a pocket knife, and all kinds of things that I needed while I was there. It was just nice to have this because it really frees up your hands too. So
Sure.
when I'm working, if I wanted to grab my water bottle and get a drink out of it, I could do that.
Right.
And I could do that without even taking it off. So
But
the only
what's
time
cool
I would
about
have to
this-
take it off is get into the main compartment to get something out or to put something in.
Right. But what's cool about this, though, is
Yeah.
that it's designed to add a little bit of weight and a little bit of support
Yep.
to your lumbar section on your back so that if for whatever reason you're climbing up a hill or an incline, you've got support in your back, your lower back, so that you don't strain yourself. It doesn't hurt.
Yep.
Right. While you're trying to climb up a
Yep.
hill or some kind of an incline or just, walking period.
Yep. Now, the important thing here too with this, the Talon 6 is a men's oriented one. It's not, they make a separate one for women. I'm trying to remember what the name of it is.
Okay.
And that's the nice thing about Osprey, is typically with their packs, they do try to make packs that do fit the anatomy of their users. When they're regular packs, they will have the shoulder straps so that it accommodates the woman's upper area.
Sure.
They do kind of the same thing here with some of their other packs too, and these fanny packs too. And I'm trying to remember the woman's version, but there is a woman's version of the same thing, and it's
Right, but
similar
the
in
idea
size.
here
The
though is
Tempest.
but the idea here though is that this thing is really meant, A, this is the men's version, and B, it's really meant to provide lumbar support while you are hiking,
Yes.
and it is, will allow you to store a water bottle and more than one water bottle, and um, keep some important stuff so that you can have it available should you get stuck, like you said, some kind of a exchange extra socks, some emergency rain equipment or other stuff that you might need while you're out hiking.
The ladies' version is the Tempest 6. It's also the same price and even available in some of the same. Well, actually, it's slightly different color. They have black and frosty mint green in the ladies' version. The Talon 6 is available in 3 different colors: Scoria blue / night shift. That's the one I have. Coal gray, and then the mint green night shift, which is the one I was thinking about getting. And then the wife says, "Get the darker one because it'll show the dirt less." So I'm like,
Sure.
"Oh yeah, good point."
Right. But just so everybody knows, this is this. So the blue and the black versions are $95.
Yes.
All right. The ice green or the mint
Ooh,
is
it's
$88.58. All right, it's on sale.
Ooh, I
All
might have
right.
to get that.
All right, it's on sale
Yeah.
For a few dollars less.
Yep. They also
about
make
$7
extended
less.
fit versions, which are versions that I would have needed years ago, but now I, of course, no longer
Right.
need.
Right. So those
basically
are the versions that for those of us that might be a bit more full figured.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
So
they're
more
longer.
abundant. You're more abundant.
yes.
That's right. You have a bigger waist than I do.
Right.
So,
But the idea here is that they're about 90 bucks, somewhere in that 85 $95, somewhere in
And
that
by the
range.
way, it's useful for more than just hiking. Like I said, I was wearing it on the mission trip. But like if you're going to the amusement park or something, this is an ideal thing to take with you. You can have your sunblock in there and things like that,
Right. And it will still support your back while you're walking around, which is important. And that's the important thing.
It looks a little bit bigger than what we used to call a fanny pack.
It is.
It's it's a little bit larger, so there's no question it'd be functional on a trip like that.
Yes. Yes. So if you are in an amusement park, if you're the Disney type, this would be awesome to have.
But you will probably have to take it off going through security. They'll want to look at it.
Oh, absolutely.
Yes, and going on certain rides, and that's actually
going on certain rides.
Yeah. That's the nice thing I noticed with at least the last amusement park I went to, which was Hershey Park, is those rides that would not let you take your bag with you, either have a place for you to temporarily store them, and lock them, which used to be just a cubby hole, and it would be unlocked. But a lot of the rides now have lockers right at the ride queue, so you can just stick it in there while you're on the ride, and then get off the ride,
which is kind of cool.
Yep.
So,
and this one will fit perfectly in there, with no problem stuffing it in there, unlike bigger packs that you might be wearing.
Sure.
So
fair enough.
But I love this thing. I use it every summer for multiple reasons. Like I will probably be taking it with me here in a couple weeks when I go camping with the family up to Kelly's Island in Lake Erie. So,
And that is awesome.
Yep.
And that, kids, is the show for this week. This has been the iTechGear Weekly, episode number 173. Lil Finder Guy, recorded live Sunday, June 7th, 2026, live from iTechGear Central for Mr. Chris Gavula, Brother Joe McLaughlin, and Dr. Mr. Larry McJunkin. I want to say, hey, we will see you next time.